you doing? It's me, M.Geezerbub, back with another episode of A Little Help. So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about a very important reminder called gratitude, or gratitude, rather. Um, it's amazing how easily we forget about gratitude. It's something that really escapes the mind after a short period of time. We have to remind ourselves to do it. And gratitude is a very interesting topic because there's so much to it. For example, gratitude seems to strike everybody differently, especially when you're comparing it between, let's say, a child that's ever only known war and a child that's never known war. Their values are so different. You know, the child that's only ever known war would have so much gratitude over finding an edible scrap of food so they can survive the extra day. Where a child who's never known war is probably not used to being grateful because they get what they want all the time. Till eventually it just passes them by that they could be grateful for what they already have. um, in fact, if you think about it, people that have the least in their lives are the ones that tend to be the most grateful for anything that they can get because they have so little, right? And it's almost scary to think that for people like us, people who live in stable countries who don't have to deal with war and poverty, one must wonder: do they have to keep losing what they have in order to remember to be grateful? Do they have to suffer loss? It's an interesting question with a simple answer: no. You can just remember to be grateful. It's a reminder, you know. Most of the people who don't do it, they don't do it for the simplest reason ever, because they forget. Another thing that I find interesting about gratitude is that it has a chronological order to it. You know, gratitude has its own past, present, and future. It's very interesting to me. We can be in the past in terms of gratitude and forget what we once had and forget our positive memories. We could be in the present with gratitude and not realize what we have now. And then there's people who are always thinking in the future, always thinking of what they're going to have next. And then once they have it, they don't think about the fact that they have it. They just go straight to the next thing. Okay, now what do I want to get? You know, so it's always a goal. Gratitude is a goal, but when they achieve the goal, they do not enjoy the goal in the present because they're stuck in the future. So gratitude can exist in all time frames, especially its lacking. You know what I mean? Like an extremely rich guy can buy that seventh jacuzzi, and yet he's never used one of them because he's so busy trying to keep his money up on the top of the mountain pile that he never takes the time to stop and think, what do I have now? And I think there's genuine information there. You know what I mean? So stop for a second, okay? Whatever you're thinking, just try to put it on pause for a second. Look at me. And while you do that, ask yourself, okay, what do you have now? Let's start with the present. What do you have now that you really wouldn't want to lose? Something that you would easily be grateful for. Think of a couple things, two or three. Now let's go in the past and think about things that would have gone wrong had it not been for a certain gain that you made that you can easily be grateful for. You know, something that you've had throughout your whole life, throughout your whole history, that, thank God I have this. Think of a couple things, one or two, three if you can. Now think in terms of the future. Think of what's coming. But more importantly, plan how you will enjoy what is coming. Okay? There's at least one positive thing headed your way. No matter how many negative things that you know are headed your way, there's at least one good thing. Okay? And if there isn't, make one. Okay? Take the time to look for something that is positive, something that you want that only exists in the future because you don't have it yet, and seek it out. Make a goal of gratitude if you don't have anything yet. Okay? So that way you can have your mind focused on gratitude in all time frames, past, present, and future. And the reason you want to do this is because the more you remind yourself to be grateful, the less suffering you will do over the things that you don't have. Okay? Being grateful naturally alleviates depression and anxiety over time. It becomes just another skill, another practice that you do. Okay? Because there are things in your life that you do have that are good that you are grateful for. If you're watching this, there's something there. Okay? You're not that empty-handed. I know some of us are far less fortunate than others. But it does all the good in the world to remember what you do have before they're gone. Okay? So now let's impose an exercise instead of just a reminder. Okay? Find yourself a little box, little something to hold little scraps of paper in. Anything at all. Just like a little container. I'm looking for something like let's say this. Like an empty container. Okay? That you can grab a bunch of little sticky notes, those little pieces of paper, and every night before you go to bed, write at least two things that you are grateful for, past, present, or future. Write it down on that sticky note and put it in that box. Just leave it there. Keep doing that until you have a good 30 something notes in that box, a whole month's worth. Okay? And then at the end of every month, go back in there and read it. Read all of them. Okay? This is a practical exercise I'm giving you. Every single night, write a couple things that you're grateful for in your life, even if sometimes you have to make a repeat of what you said a couple nights before. Even if you're grateful for the simplest thing, like your health, like something that was given to you as a gift recently because it was your birthday or something. Or maybe you're grateful for a friend that always seems to be there for you. Doesn't matter what it is, but write at least two things that you're grateful for every night and slip it in that little box of yours until it's got at least a good 30 in there, and then read them at the end of every month. Remind yourself of what you have. Keep your mind focused on what you have. Not utterly and completely, but enough that you don't forget. So that way you're not always wondering about what you don't have. Think, you got to moderate this stuff. Anyway, I'm out of time. Thank you for watching. You can leave a like. You can even subscribe if you want. Doesn't matter. And keep fighting the good fight and win.